What would you do in this case? Anyone felt in a similar situation? So I left out the part that she said, I didn't realize I had so much extended family until I came here to BYUH. A lot of times people think, oh, you're in America. You know, you're making lots of money, so you can send me money. So
in her culture, freely giving and receiving money was an important part of helping family. Asking for help can be from a real need, or it can be because it is something they would like and that they're not willing to save for. Generally, people who need money find people who have money and try to get it with as least effort as possible. If it takes too much effort on their part, they will go to someone else.
What would you do? Let's take 2 minutes and talk about that. You know what Elder Uchtdorf said? He said, asking questions is not a sign of weakness. It's a precursor to further growth. And he was talking about gospel questions, but I think in finances it holds equally true. Interesting, for the people that she helped, she said she wanted them to take the church's personal finance for self-reliance class. I actually had a student come and ask, not a student, but a friend of mine, come and ask for help because he wrecked his car and he had canceled his insurance 2 months before he wrecked his car. So one of the requirements was you take the personal finances for self-reliance course. And he started doing that, and he got a month into it, and he says, I'm not going to do that. He said, I'm not going to do that. They're asking too personal information. They wanted him to do a budget. So I said, fine. I said, you agreed.
Pay us the money back.
You agreed. You pay me the $891 back, and you don't have to take that course. He went back and apologized to him and continued taking it. And the neat thing, too, is
now he's saving money. He's got an emergency fund.
He's got an emergency fund of over $1,000, and he's continuing to save money. But it was interesting. Again, 3/4 of the people didn't respond. And so she found out which of those were scams and which of those were not. And there was a couple of them that she could continue to help, and that was within her means. She didn't run faster than she had strength nor means.
You can't help every single person.
Yeah.
You can help some people sometimes, but not everybody.
And you know what? Once you get out of school and you have a good job and you're making more, you can help so much more than while you're here in school. So what would you do in this case? Let's talk first about culture. Miguel, did he know about his? You can go to the next slide. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry.
There's the rest. Okay.
Moreover said so culture. Maria had been sending money to her kids every year.
Well,
Miguel knew
from
about
the time they were married.
Yeah, from the time
they were married for 30 years. He knew that she had a problem giving to her adult children.
Yeah. So she thought she was helping, but what did she created? She created an entitlement. And he recognized that. And so he set it up so he could keep the assets away
from her children.
So what are your options? If you want some Miguel's children, you can help or not help. What would you do?
So remember, Miguel had 6 children. We didn't really say that, but Miguel had 6 children, and Maria had 4 children. And Maria's 4 children were very dependent upon Mary and her money, or Maria and her money. Okay. And Miguel's children were all
so what would you do?
Didn't need money all the time.
Your Miguel's children just come to you and said, hey, we want more money to take care of Maria.
Maria's children, yeah.
Maria's oldest daughter came to Miguel's kids and said, hey, I need more money taken care of.
And they want more money.
So the Miguel's kids could either help or not help or do something in between. So how did he strengthen the family? First thing he told them, he said, hey, the brothers got together and they said, hey, we're happy to help. So let's get together and talk. We teach finance freely. And then Miguel's children said, hey, send us a budget and let's see how you're doing.
Let's see how much you really need to take care of Mary.
Yeah, what it takes to take care of Mary. And Maria's children said, we don't have a budget. He says, well, put one together. And guess what? Did they put one together? No, they didn't have one. So what had happened? Miguel's children said, okay, here's the budget.
They had already had
Miguel
a budget.
had already put together.
He put it together before he passed away.
Then we said, are there other things in there that
We don't know
Miguel
about.
missed? He said nothing. So Miguel's children respected the fact that Maria, which is their stepmom, she could choose. She had her agency. She could move in with her daughter. She could sell the house. She could sell the cars, which were all paid for.
Divided up amongst Maria's
She divided up the
kids.
money. Miguel's children also knew what their kids did with the money. They bought new cars. They could tell by Facebook and things.
They got a couple
down
new
payment on the
houses.
house, a couple of other things there too. But Miguel's children were free to choose not to give the money out of their business accounts when the current budget was sufficient. What did they do? They chose not to help. What were their implications? Yeah. So that family kind of kept Maria away from Miguel's children. But I mean, we respect agency. And sometimes you can't always, when you don't give people what they want, sometimes there are issues there too. But do you notice that when you give wisely and when you follow correct principles, you truly can empower and you're not enabling.
Okay. You
Okay.
go on the next one? Okay, now we got another one. Do you want me to go
Is
back
Bill
to
concerned about family? Just from what you read about culture, he's very concerned about family. And again, in his culture, you can come to the he had an agreement with his family, but he also had an agreement with the school. He wanted to help out his family, but also wanted to get his education. So let's go back to the case study. What would you do? Let's talk with your groups and say, what would you come up? Again, what we're trying to do is, how would you apply correct principles to this problem? Bill had a friend this previous semester that had this same problem. And this friend was giving money to his family, and he went to his bishop and said, hey, I need money to help with tuition. And the bishop said, wait a second. The fast offering is to help people who are in need, not to help people who have sufficient, but because they gave to their family, they can't survive. And so that person was eventually sent home.
Because he couldn't afford his tuition.
He couldn't afford his tuition.
I think another strategy would be, that we talked about, would be like helping them be more creative with the use of their
Okay.
money. So maybe they can set up like a little shop or a business
Okay.
to try to duplicate.
Okay.
Instead of just, like, yes, send the money, but also be like, okay, what if we duplicate it over there?
Yeah.
Right?
And if you have family doing more things, if family's working, even if it's small, every little bit helps. But Bill was given a certain amount every year, and then at the end of the first year, they're saying they needed more.
Every month.
Every month, they say they needed almost double what they had. So let's go to what did he do? Next one. So how did he strengthen the family? He shared. He communicated openly. And he communicated with love. He says, I've got two really good goals. Helping my family and getting my education. Both of these are good. He shared what he learned about becoming financially and spiritually self-reliant. He actually sent his family his budget and said, this is what I spend each month. This is what I have to spend. This is my tuition bills. Normally we keep family matters in the family, but sometimes when you have these crucial conversations, it's important to pin that there. So he showed that if he helped them with the increased amount, he couldn't pay his bills. And he would have to come home because he has an agreement with the school.
So it's important that you share that if I can continue sending you the current amount, but if I send more, I can't graduate. But I can help you more later after I get my degree. Yeah. So it's better if they can learn that you can't give everything because then you won't have enough and then you won't be able to graduate.
So we had crucial conversations as guided by the Spirit. What do you think the family said? We'll just continue with the current amount and you'll be able to help more once you get your education. And so he was able to continue with the amount. But it's really important that the family understand that they need to be on a budget. They need to be finding things that they can incrementally increase income to. Because instead of the student sending all this money back home, if home can, even if they can earn 10 or 15 or 20%, that's 20% less that the student has to spend. And realize that this, as students, you guys are taking care of yourselves and your own family as well. Anyone have siblings that have challenges with finances? I see a couple of heads nodding. How do you help? And this is even, BJ is single, and Bob's married with 4 kids.
Bob's the one asking for money.
And Bob's the one asking for money. So we're a little short on time, so
BJ's family grew up in a modest income with his parents who lived frugally. They had only 1 car, and the children helped pay their own expenses. So each of the other siblings had seemed to figure out their finances early, but not Bob. Money for him was too easy to spend and too hard to save, so he borrowed frequently.
So what did they do?
Give Bob money, give Bob money. Okay.
So actually, BJ was in Korea. His brother was or his sister was in another state. And they agreed that they were going to meet at a Taco Bell. And they told Bob, bring all your finances with you. Bring all of your expenses, bring your income. We're going to talk. We're going to eat and we're going to talk. And they sat down and they started with the income. He makes a decent income. But then Bob couldn't see. So
Bob had 3 cars.
Yeah, 3 cars. So BJ told him, you've got 3 cars. You can't afford the payments. All 3 of them were on payments. You can't afford those. You can barely afford 1 car.
But he had enough money. He had income that could support 1 car.
1 car. He says, you're going to need to get rid of 2 cars. So they started going down again. And his cell phones. How many cell phones do you have in the family? They have 4 kids. They have 5 cell phones, mom, dad, and 3 kids. And they said, you can't afford 5 cell phones. You can afford yours for you and your wife. But the other kids, if they want to keep those cell phones, they're going to have to pay for them. And guess what? 2 of the 3 kids said, okay, we'll pay for them. Also went down to cable TV. He says, you know what? You don't make enough money to afford cable TV. But it was interesting as they went through there, Bob all of a sudden started catching the vision of what was going on. Started realizing, and he figured out, and he went through a lot of things. Within a month, they had gone from 3 cars to 1. Within a month, they had gone from 5 cell phones to 2. And also, Bob realized, you know what, if he did this, he didn't need their help anymore. And so, helped him make major decisions. And Bob was willing to listen because he knew that he was loved. Again, one brother had come all the way from Korea and another from another state, a sister from another state. And because of that, they knew that he was cared for. So,
and then after that, Bob was able to save money to go on a vacation with his family.
Yeah. 2 years later, it was a prepaid vacation, a very expensive vacation.
And then he was able to, he didn't have to ask for money anymore.
Didn't ask for money again. But do you get a sense? Giving money is really easy. But given wisely takes time, it takes effort.
Or taking money is really easy.
Yeah, taking money is easy too. But again, as we follow the principles, that you can do so much more. So what are your takeaways for today? What are your takeaways from, this is our last day on culture.
Oh.
Carolina, what are your takeaways?
I think my takeaway is it's important to keep boundaries.
Set boundaries. And to communicate those boundaries too. Will people be excited about the boundaries you set? No, but that's okay because you're an agent to yourself. I took our case studies, that article there, and I ran it through AI and said, what are the key takeaways from the case studies? And it's included at the back of that there. But helping should empower, not enable. Set clear boundaries and communicate with love. Budgeting and record keeping provide clarity. Asking questions before giving leads to better outcomes. Critical, the importance of long-term vision and goals. And strengthening the family is the ultimate goal. And finally, the role of faith in seeking guidance. So what's our final takeaway from our spiritual thought today?
The gospel of Jesus Christ is the great equalizer. We come to realize that we are all his children.
Okay.